G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for a quick video on loot filters. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be working with my Warlock just because I happen to have already finished making the filter I'm going to use for what I'm going to call the final build, but you know how these things are, it may not actually be the final build, but it's kind of my goal at the moment, and I've already made the filter for it, so I don't have to make another one. But before I get into that, we're going to start with a basic leveling filter that I've been using for, well, I've only made 4 characters now, but I've been using this filter for for 3 of the 4, and the first one I kind of just made up as I went along, and it was nowhere near as good as this, and I spent a lot of time looking at rubbish on the floor. I picked up way too much stuff. So I had tons of shattered affixes that I was just never going to use. I never had enough shattering runes. I think by the time I got to monoliths, I had 2 full stash tabs full of idols that I didn't know that I was never going to use. And I also had 2 full stash tabs full of items that I had decided that I needed to shatter, but I couldn't afford the shattering runes for. So to avoid that, you want to make yourself a filter. Now, Shift F is the default filter key or hotkey for PC. What it is on other platforms, I have no idea. I play on PC exclusively, and that's what I know. So this is the leveling filter I use for this character, for my Warlock, with a couple of exceptions, things I've changed along the way, but we can change them back, or probably just talk about them. So the first thing you want at the bottom, and keeping in mind that rules that are higher up take precedent over, or take priorities rather, over the lower ones. So I will always hide all Primalist Mage, Sentinel, and Rogue specific items for this character. This is a solo character found character, so I cannot trade these items. Anything that this character is not going to use is worthless, because I can't trade it to another character, and this character can't use it. So anything that's not an acolyte, I don't want to see it. So that's at the top, and this will hide every item that I can't use, even if it's unique, even if it's shown by anything down here, like recolor. Let me see here. I thought I had other idols, but even if there's something that the rules down here say I want to see, if it happens to have rolled on a Primalist Mage, Sentinel, or Rogue specific base, then I'm not going to see it, okay? And maybe it's a tier 7 affix that I actually do want, still won't see it, and I'm kind of okay with that. So, at the bottom, generally speaking, you're going to want to have a rule that says hide pretty much everything. And this could quite happily be just hide everything. The reason I have it on hide, where are we? Rarity. The reason I have it on hide all this stuff is I do actually want to see the uniques and sets. I don't particularly think I'm going to be using most of them, but I don't know the uniques very well at the moment, and so I do want to see them. On other characters, and especially on the end game filter I'm going to show you at the end, this bottom rule just basically says hide everything. And then I use other rules above that to show the things that I want to see. So next up is to show all magic, rare, and exalted items that happen to have at least 2 of these 29 affixes that I've picked out. Now, for this character, I don't actually need Dex, but I was toying with the idea of using another proc on the Chaos Bolts that would trigger harvest, basically 1% per each point of dexterity you have. I'm not using that, so I don't actually need Dex, but you're looking at your main stat, you're looking at vitality, maybe you need attunement, then you want the type of damage you're doing and the cast speed or attack speed for it, any kind of crit you may want. I'm doing necrotic, so I want necrotic damage and necrotic penetration, and then under general, I have crit strike multi, crit strike chance, and damage over time. And then something you want to see on pretty much all of your heroes, you want all this health stuff. You want to see resistances and armor and stuff. And I've got health regen there. You can turn this off if you're playing a ward build, turn it off. But you might want to see that. And then I have a couple of acolyte things, which I'm actually not using these anymore, so I don't know why they're still on there, but I mean, honestly, just turn those off and it's fine. So that's what this rule is. This is basically, I'm playing a character that does necrotic damage. I want to see items that have necrotic damage, that have basic defensive affixes on them. And I want to see items that have at least 2 affixes from this list. So that's what that one is. And then I've got an Acolyte-specific Shatter one here. So this is all of the Acolyte-specific affixes. And you'll note I've just checked all of these. So any helmet, chest, or might just be helmet and chest. But any item that happens to have level of Summon Skeleton on it, level of Transplant, I might decide later on that actually I need to get a few pets because the spell that I want to use will give me more spell damage if I have some skeletons. And so maybe I want to have level of Summon Skeleton available as an affix. But this rule is just a shatter rule for any item that has Acolyte specific modifiers on it. And I want to see all of them, and I want to shatter all of them. Once you have a few of these, you can start turning these off. You can turn the whole rule off if you want. Just check this little green tick here. And now I'm not going to see them. I'm going to leave that on for now, but that's what that one is. Now these next two are 6 or 8, I guess, specific affixes that are quite rare, but also very valuable for pretty much any build. Let's go over this one first. This is Hybrid Health. Now, when I started with this filter, Hybrid Health was lumped in with the other kind of rare / important affixes that this rule is designed to deal with. I've pulled this out specifically because I want to see all of them. If an item spawns with tier 1 Hybrid Health, I want that affix. I want to shatter it. I want to make sure I get all of the Hybrid Health that I can. But for something on the other part of the rule, like, for example, what's the first one? Cooldown. So, cooldown reduction. I only really want to see this if it's tier, I think, 4. I think it's set at 4. No, I only want to see it if it's set at 5. So, earlier in the game, I'd have this set at 2, maybe. And then, as I get higher level, maybe I have 10 of these shards already. I don't need quite so many. Maybe I'll put it up to 4. Eventually, you're going to want this at 5. And this one is cooldown, movement speed, all of the health kind of stuff here, added health, increased health. And I would normally have Hybrid Health in here, but I want the other rule to deal with Hybrid Health, so I've taken it out of this one. And then Crit Strike Avoidance. And that's all that's in here. This is highlighted in kind of this puke green color, so I know that anything that shows up in this color is something I want to shatter for the rarer affixes, and if it happens to be capitalized, well, it's got Hybrid Health, and I really want that. Next up is the Ligonian Idols. This is the 1x2s, so these ones, and I want to recolor, which is basically highlight, all of these idols that have % health and flat health. So that's what this one does. You'll see Stout Ligonian Idol, and these two affixes are going to be health and health. So one of these is percentage, the other one is flat. And if I get an idol that happens to have 5% health and anything else, it will be highlighted. If I get one that happens to have 27 or plus flat health and anything else, it'll also be highlighted. So that's that one. And then I also have these 9 different types of idols with 10 affixes here. And these affixes are resistances. So any idol that happens to have resistances on it, I want to see it, because when I'm starting, when I'm leveling, when I've just gotten to monoliths, I'm using some of these idol slots to fill in resistance holes. So like this one here, 2 to vitality, 15 necrotic resistance. Chance to bleed on hit is worthless to me, but 15 necrotic res for this build is damage, but for any other build, you might need this to fill your resistance holes. So that's what that rule's for. Then I have this rule here to show experimental. I'm not using any experimental affixes on this build, but while I'm leveling, maybe I would want to see them. And then, like I said, the top one here is just hide all the items I can't use or trade. Now, if you're playing on the trade, the cycle, and you're trading with people, you probably don't want to have this on here. You want to have actually a whole bunch of other stuff turned on, so as you can maybe trade it. But I think trading will be a different video, or most likely I just won't talk about it in the context of filters. Okay, so this character is level 79, about to be level 80, and I'm kind of looking at this build, which I more or less winged this build, and just kind of made it up as I went along. There was a little bit of research involved, but I'm not copying a build for this. This is just what I did when I leveled, and I've kept doing it during monoliths. I am onto the last ruin here, and I think I still have the Age of Winter to go, and then I'll be into empowered monoliths. So I'm getting to the point where I want to start thinking about the build I'm going to be using at the end, the goal, the target. What do I want to make with this character? And I've decided that I'm going to make something either the same or similar to the Self-Ignite Torment Warlock that I discovered from the Curses channel. It may have come from somewhere else, but I got it from him. And so I've made this filter for that. And this filter hides everything. I don't want to see anything that isn't an item for this build. Again, if you're doing trade stuff, you probably don't want to go anywhere near this strict, but I'm not doing trade stuff, so I do. And what I've got here is any gloves that happen to have 2 of 3 affixes. Now, most of the gear in this build is going to be prioritizing necrotic resistance, because with this node here, Twisted Waves, I get more damage. So Torment, which is the main curse I'm using to deal damage, will deal more damage per uncapped necrotic resistance. So my necrotic resistance is up to 300. I want this closer to 600, 700, 800, and I'll be getting damage from that. So these affixes are going to be necrotic resistance, they're going to be intelligence, and I think I have cast speed on the gloves. But generally speaking, this is going to be a ward build, so I don't care about health. I don't want to see health anymore. If I need health, where are we? Is it this one? Nope, it's this one. Let's just chuck something. Let's just chuck something in there so I can look at the affixes. Okay, health. I've got 130 flat health shards. I've got 46 regen. I've got 40% health regeneration. Okay, that's weird. Hybrid health, I've only got 7, so I kind of probably do want to see that. But I'm not going to be crafting these onto any of the gear I'll be using at the end. This is a ward build, so I don't need any of that. And so all I'm showing is these 3 affixes, which are going to be, this is going to be necrotic resistance, and then cast speed and intelligence. That's all I want for my gloves. And because my gloves are going to be Malian's Hubris, I do want to see Malian's Hubris, and then I want to see a pair of gloves that I can smash into a Malian's Hubris to make a legendary item from. So that's all this is. And until I get this and Malian's Hubris, I'm just going to keep playing this build. For the belt is the same thing. The belt is going to be a unique. It's going to be, what is it? Something, Immolator's Ablation. There it is. I didn't think I'd actually highlighted this because it comes from a specific boss and I'll be looking for it in the drop. But I'm using the Immolator's Ablation as the belt, and so I've got any belt. I haven't got a base selected here, and I want 2 affixes, and it's going to be Necrotic Resist and Minion Health. Minion Health used for increasing the health on a Bone Wall, which comes from Bone Curse here. So, sorry, Bone Prison here. We want more health on that because we're converting it into duration on another skill. So that's what that one is. But then if we go up here to Citadel Boots, now this is a specific base. So boots, and I want only Citadel boots. So I don't see any other boots at all. None nothing that isn't Citadel boots will show up. And then of the Citadel boots that drop, I want at least 3 of these affixes. Now, this is going to be cooldown, movement, crit strike, reduced damage from crit strikes, and this one I kind of want more. Necrotic resistance, and this is going to be intelligence. So any of those, I want at least 3 of them on a pair of Citadel boots, or I don't want to see it. Right? And same deal with the bone amulet, same deal with the opulent focus, same deal with the body armor. For the body armor, I've got 3 different subtypes, because there are different bonuses. So this one here has got some armor and cold res, but a stun avoidance. This one is okay for the cold resistance. I probably prefer not to get this one. I'm gonna want something with ward decay threshold, ward on kill, or this one here, all res and armor. Now, you could do something like, you could do Sanguine Regalia, but basically, you pick the bases you want, and then again, I've got 4 affixes, and I want at least 2 of them on this item. Now, I haven't set any tiers up yet, because I'm just trying to get sort of the start of the first one. I want to get one of all of these so as I can swap over. I've got ivory rings with 3 affixes, and again, I'm looking for intelligence, I'm looking for necrotic resistance, and what else do I have on here? Minion health? Yeah, minion health. And if I can get 2 of these on an ivory ring, I can craft the 3rd one. I can craft on whatever resistance I want. I can seal a low-level affix and just get the ones that I want. And later, so for example, with the, let's take a look at this focus here. Let's say I get one of these pretty quick. It's level 54. It could be dropping now. Let's say I get one of these, and it happens to roll with tier 2 necrotic resistance and tier 2 crit strike multi and tier 3 casting speed. Okay? And then I craft a resist on it, and I get some really bad rolls while I'm crafting the resistances, and I run out of forging potential. Well, now I've got the right item with the right affixes, but they're very low. So then I come in here to the advanced options, and then I say, okay, tier of all these individual affixes must be more or equal to, I think I said I had tier 2 on them, so I want tier 3, or better. And leave this one for now. But basically, you could do this. The other thing you could do is you could set this to a rarity type as well. So add condition here, rarity must be exalted. And then you're only going to see exalted opulent focuses that have these affixes, and one of them has to be exalted. So that's how you do it. And you start with just, I'll take any opulent focus that has the affixes I want. If I end up with tier 4 affixes on them, it's fine. It's just to get started. I'll tighten up the filter later. And then at the top here, I've got Immortal Idols here with the 3 affixes I want. I've got Grand Bone Idols with the 5 affixes, Bone Idols with 5 affixes. And then these ones here, I believe, again, are, oh, that's the types. And then in here we have, you know, I want damage over time. I want probably necrotic resist. Yep, there it is. And so just anything that has damage over time, anything that has necrotic resist, anything that has, what else is actually in there now that I'm thinking about it? Let's see. That's necrotic resist. Oh, this is damage over time and necrotic resistor in several different places. This is intelligence and some vitality, because vitality gets converted into necrotic resistance because of something. I forget exactly what it is. It might be, no, something anyway converts vitality into necrotic resistance somewhere. I can't remember where it is. So that's the filter I have at the end, and then I want to see all the unique and set items. The uniques I'm actually going to use are recolored in red, so everything red is an item that I want to use for the final build. And I'm going to swap over to this probably around 83, maybe just once I get into empowered monos, because for the moment, I'm still kind of collecting affix shards. There's no point getting all that all those items, but I've already filtered out all the items I need to get the shards to craft those items once they drop. So I'm going to keep playing with the leveling filter for now, and once I get into empowered monos, I might even keep the leveling filter until 85 and then swap over just to get a few more affix shards. And I may leave a few rules like this one. Where is it? Like this one here. I may leave this one on and just have it show only tier 7 exalted for some of the affixes that I want. And then that can be a way to keep finding and shattering the affixes you need to craft your final items. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this quick little video on loot filters. I hope you got some good information out of it, and you can definitely adapt this to any builds you might happen to be playing, whether you're stealing someone else's, we call that research, by the way, it's not theft, or if you're making your own. This is a way you can make the filters, and it's not the only way, but this is how I do it. Anyway, that'll be it for this video, so thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye for now.